and I'm going to hand over the virtual stage to Wouter. Wouter, feel free to introduce yourself, and we'll see you afterwards.
Thanks for your introduction, Angela. And I'm very pleased to be here and part of the new Transformers edition. Yeah, as said, I'm Wouter Munnichs. I'm the founder of the online denim magazine Long John. And next to that, I'm also working as a freelance denim specialist for retail brands, mills, and also events like Denim Days. And today, I'm pleased to show a few pieces from my denim archive, which I collected over the years. First, good to know, I started my denim career at Diesel Jeans back in the 90s. And at that point, Diesel made a premium collection called Old Glory. And it was a really special collection because they brought back the selvedge jeans again, but also embroidered jackets that were all heavily inspired by the big three denim brands. So the Levi's, Lee, and Wrangler stuff. So at that time, I didn't know really a lot about the heritage about American jeans, to be honest. And but I got really, yeah, it was a sort of first on the love side. So I jumped into the history and started to searching about the heritage and where all those specific items were coming from. So that's also how I started to collect the jeans. And one thing what I really love about old pairs of jeans and jackets is that it's most of the time really heavily worn because it was old workwear, of course. And I really love the romantic part and the romantic stories behind each garment. So that makes them very special. Also nowadays, it's sometimes quite hard to get your hands on specific items because prices are sky high at the moment. And also when I have in mind that most of the really blue gold stuff is in the hands of Japanese collectors. So they say roughly about 70% is in the hands of Japanese collectors, and they collect it and they don't sell it. So you can imagine that there are less styles on the market these days. So the prices are going up and up. I have only 15 minutes, so I have to be aware of the time, of course. So let's kick off with the first item. It's a kimono from Japan, and it was made in the early 1900s. An original style made for kids this time, made with and dyed with natural indigo. The total kimono was stitched by hand, something that you don't see anymore, of course. It's reversible, as you can see, so you can wear it on two sides. A really beautiful piece, and also marked as a sort of antique nowadays for people. Another really nice pair that is special to me is this miner pair that was recently found in an old closed mine in the States. A pair that is also from the early 1900s, and it was not dyed with indigo but with logwood. So an alternative for indigo. And one of the things about logwood dyeing is that it is not that color fast, so it fades quite quickly. And most of the time it turns a little bit purple. And you can see that as well on the bottom of this cut off pair. But if you take a look on the right picture, you see the inside pocket is still fresh bluish. And that was the original color of this pants. And that is also what makes my heart beats faster every time when I get my hands on a specific pair like this, because it's changed compared to the new original state of it, and that makes it really interesting. But the blue jeans story, of course, starts with what the name what it says already, of course, like blue jeans, and blue jeans were pairs that were used by gold miners and also silver miners. And they were patented and strength with rib.
So we lost Wouter there for a minute. I'm sure he'll come back in a second. Hopefully will. See what's happening. Wouter, can you hear me? You froze.
Hi.
Yeah, you're back again. Great.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Super. So as I was telling about the rivets, that the rivet is one of the most revolutionary parts, in my opinion, in the denim history. We all know the pairs of jeans till now that are having those little copper parts. And what you see on the screen right now is two original rivets with the date marking on it. It's the first rivet that was used by Levi Strauss for the first couple of years when they had a patent to strengthen pairs of jeans. The left one is really special because a piece of denim fabric is still attached, which makes them very special, especially for collectors. This pair is a sort of holy grail for a lot of people because it's an old Levi 501, and it was also found in a mine, so which makes it really hard to get, really special. It's only the left leg of a pair of jeans, as you can see. So probably the right leg was used to repair another waist overall, or to use to fasten the candle for people when they were in the mine. And also interesting about this specific pair is that it has the left back pocket, as you can see, still attached. And Levi Strauss attached the fifth back pocket or the fifth pocket on a 5-pocket jeans was the left back pocket. So so a really nice one. It's one of the earliest examples of how we still know the 5-pocket today. Still no with belt loops. They were just added back in the early 20s. So it still has suspender buttons on this one. And here you can see clearly how those miners were looking at that period. One of the most iconic pieces, I guess, of most iconic pictures of that time. Miners, two miners standing in front of a mine. And what's really funny to think about is that people back in the day went into that specific mines to find gold and silver. And nowadays, denim hunters dive into those same mines, but they wanted to discover the blue gold. So old pairs of jeans that were left by those miners. And really nice and heavily faded, as you can see, 30s pair of kids jeans. It is not that common to get your hands on these small kids jeans because they were not made that much back in those days. It has some really nice repairs on the front, as you can see, on the knee level, and also on the back. It still has the change back on the back and also the laurel leaf button, which all disappeared after World War II. Another piece straight from the mines. It's an unbranded pair, so probably made by a big retailer from the US, JCPenney, for example. They were making a lot of collections and jeans brands also by themselves as a sort of private label. But it is the jeans that how we know it still today. So without the change back, which you saw on the previous slide, it's a sort of a simple 5-pocket jean. As you can see, half a leg is gone, so probably still somewhere in the mine. Didn't survive all those years. One of the most remarkable denim jacket styles in the history of denim is the one by Levi Strauss, and it's the 506. It's also known as the Type 1 jacket. It has just one single chest pocket, as you can see, and pleats on the front. A lot of rusty spots because this jacket was stocked for decades in an old barn in the States. So and also what is really special about this and makes this jacket version really rare is that it's made from a light colored denim fabric and it's stitched with yellow stitching. So normally this jacket has a slightly darker color fabric and also stitched with tobacco stitching color instead of the lemon stitching. In the 40s, a lot of brands were approaching the cowboy and also the Western lifestyle. So also Lee did that, and they did that with their Lee cowboy pants, a jean that was specifically designed and made for cowboys. You can see that on the right picture that the back pockets are positioned slightly to the sides, so it makes you more comfortable riding a horse. And the picture on the bottom is really cool because it has a lot of oxidation on the top button, as you can see. It's still branded as Lee Cowboy, and later during the 50s they changed that to Lee Riders. And also the pattern on the front is really beautiful. You see a slightly twisted leg, which you see a lot of vintage jeans as well. Yeah, this specific pair is really also very, very rare and also very nice. And because when you collect vintage jeans and jackets, it's of course it's about the style is as number one, of course, because you want to collect historical pieces, but sometimes also the stories behind it makes a specific pair more special, of course. And this is one of those, because when Wrangler, the Wrangler kicked off in 1947, they came on the market with this pair. And if you take a close look to the back pocket, you see arcuate stitching on the back pocket instead of the W stitching, which they use nowadays. So the first year, so from 1947 to 1948, they used this arcuate stitching on the back pocket. But as we all know that Levi's has the same arcuate stitching, and they trademarked this stitching in 1943. So Wrangler had to change their back pocket stitching into the W, which makes this pair very rare, and is also known by collectors as the proto jeans, or also some people mark them as a sample jeans. This specific pair was found in this barn by a family from that moved from Japan to the US after World War II. In hope to get a better life. So they were corn farmers, and when the total family passed away, a friend of the family was selling the house and also everything that was in their old barn. So a lot of jeans came out. So he approached me as well to check out if I was interested to buy some jeans, and I was very, very happy to get my hands on this Wrangler pair, because it's really hard to get these pairs nowadays. During the 50s, people like James Dean, and also during the 60s, like Marilyn Monroe, became a sort of icons for the youth. And after World War II, a lot of people that served the army, they started clubs, also motorcycle clubs, and they used also jackets to express themselves, and also using jackets as a sort of a canvas. This specific item is the Type 2 from Levi's, because it's the follow-up on the Type 1 that you saw on previous slide. It's customized by a biker club with patches, which makes them extra cool and extra special. Another nice pair from the 50s is this 101B from Lee jeans, and the B stands for button. So you have the 101Z from Lee, which stands for zipper, but this is the B version. Really nice natural worn pattern on the front, but also the backside is really impressive. As you can see, it has a lot of repairs. You can say that people already back then had a sort of sustainable mind. That was most of the time, it was because simply they couldn't afford a second or a new pair of jeans, so they used an older pair of jeans to repair this one to give it a second or eternal life. And yeah, which makes it really special and really iconic to collect vintage pieces. Oh, another one is this 50s overall, a true workwear piece from a really small and rare brand called Jack Rabbit. Another example that you can see that jeans were made to work. but also to make to last for a very, very long time. So they repaired this this item multiple times, as you can see, and you get a lot of different kind of bluish layers and different kind of threads were used, which makes them a sort of denim pieces of art for me. During the 60s, also a lot of jeans and jackets were customized. Lee was the first that introduced in the market the first slim-fitted denim jacket by the end of the 40s. And this version is from the 60s, and it was customized by a university from Michigan. And it was because of, as you can see on this picture over here, students were holding a yearly event each time, and they were also wearing those specific jackets to represent themselves as a sort of staff from the students of the university. This 70s banner was made by Wrangler, and most of the time those banners were made for retail to promote the brand on a different kind of way as brands were doing. But these banners were also used during rodeo events, which was a very common thing for Wrangler because they were very attached to the rodeo and the Western lifestyle, of course. What also makes it quite hard to get your hands on these banners nowadays, because back in the day the silk screens were not that of good quality as nowadays, so you could only make a run of a couple of hundreds of these banners. And yeah, I'm really pleased when I get my hands on a banner, and especially on banners like this one that are in really mint new condition. Another pair that is really interesting also because of the story. It's a promo rodeo pants from Wrangler, and this pair of jeans was worn by a clown and a rodeo clown during the rodeo events. This also started as a marketing tool with brands like Wrangler, but also Lee did it also as well, and even Levi's. So rodeo clowns were wearing this type of jeans just to make a sort of fun, to entertain the people during a break, but also to distract the bull when someone was fallen into the arena. Still, also the original bandanas are attached on this pair, which makes them very colorful and very nice. This one is the last piece already in the presentation. Also a shirt by Wrangler jeans, and as you can see, it is heavily faded. So it was worn by a farmer in the States, and he has worn this shirt for many years. So you have to keep in mind that all the items that you saw in this presentation were worn from unwashed fabrics. So they were not pre-washed in a factory like nowadays most of the jeans and shirts are. So you got a really nice X on the back, because that's a sun-faded effect of wearing a bib overall for so many years. The last slide I want to end is always with a quote, and this time denim is patient, so take your time. So in other words, denim is becoming more and more nicer with age. The older the better, in my opinion. So please keep rocking your pair of jeans for as long as possible. And yeah, so this was it for me. I hope you have enjoyed it. I hope you got some experience and also some inspiration from some vintage pieces. A lot of designers are still using those original pieces to design their collections nowadays, because it's very good to look to the future, of course, but you also need to know the history and the heritage of denim to make a good collection or to make a good pair of jeans, in my opinion. So if you have any question, you can shoot them, I guess.
So amazing collection, Wouter. How do you see this as purposeful for the denim industry?
Yeah, Yeah, I just started to collect these pieces just as a sort of a hobby, and
Yeah.
but I'm also using it to make content for articles on my online denim magazine, and
Yeah.
also for my denim workshops that I give to clients of mine. But next to that, I'm just addicted to those pieces, and as said, they're becoming more rare to get your hands on the good vintage stuff. So yeah.
So what's the one piece of denim that's not in your collection that you still last after? That was a question from David Tring in the Q&A, but it was a nice bridge for that. So what do you really lust after that's not in your collection?
There are several, to be honest.
Sure.
But there is, I really love to have a specific, a small pair of Lee jeans, a kids jeans, with the arcuate stitching on the back, because Lee was also using the arcuate stitching before they switched to the lazy S stitching. So that's in my collection yet. So hopefully I can make it work.
And do you see a link between the sort of denim archives and also sustainability?
Yeah, as said, most of the jeans that you have saw, they were repaired by the previous owners. So that's also a sort of being sustainable with your jeans or your overall or whatever. As said, also it was back in the days. It was because most people don't have the money to buy a new pair. But yeah, if we can adopt that sort of spirit more nowadays, it would be great for everyone, of course.
Yeah, amazing. So I think there might be some more questions coming into the Q&A, especially from the panel. Had lots of questions as well. So we'll have to unfortunately move on, Wouter, but an amazing archive. I think it's a real legacy. Start thinking about who's going to inherit that, I would say already, because it's really museum pieces, aren't they? Amazing collection and stories. Yeah, thank you very much for that. And
thank you.
Hopefully, if there's any questions, you're very welcome. We're honored to have you. So yeah, there'll be more questions, I think, coming into the Q&A. Maybe you can answer them as we're moving on to the next presentation. Yeah, okay. Sure. Thank you very much, Wouter.